Do you think that the Patriots will be better than they were last year?
I do. I think their record will be worse, but I think when it counts most, in fact, they'll be better. First of all, they still have their best player. They still have their MVP, who's Stephon Gilmore. Gilmore, I felt last year, was a legitimate MVP candidate. You know, I think people still have a hard time getting their minds around the fact that having a great defense in the league doesn't mean as much as it used to, the great defensive end who can just go get the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback. Of course you want that, but your secondary is more important than it's ever been, given constant rules changes favoring the quarterback and then the evolution of offenses to take advantage of it. Gilmore, they still have. Now, they've lost guys off their defense. There's no question about that. They have a lot of opt-outs, all of that. And I don't think that their record will be, I don't think they're going to win 12, 13, 14 games. But I do think they'll be in playoff contention. And if you force me to pick, I think they will make it into the playoffs. And when you look at the Patriots last year, it's not about how you are in the beginning or the middle of the year. It's about the way you finish in the NFL, especially. Because unlike other sports where, we have momentum. No, it's like, how has the unit come together by that time will have an enormous impact on how they play. How fresh are they? How young are they? How are their legs? How deep are they? When you looked at the Patriots at the end of last season, after a stellar campaign in terms of the wins and losses, they needed to get that win in Miami. They couldn't. They needed then, obviously, to win their wild card or win that first round game, because it wasn't just like it's been in so many other years. They win all the games. They win the games they need to at the end of the season. They have a bye in the first round. One win there in the AFC Championship game. No, the division had gotten tougher. And things had gotten tougher for the Patriots because Brady continued to decline. And the two games that they had two must-win games, they lost both. My prediction is that by the time that time of the year rolls around, they'll have enough wins to get into the playoffs, and Cam Newton will have taken over the team by then, and Bill Belichick can have some fun with that, because there's more he can do with Cam at this point in his career than with Brady. I think they're going to be more dangerous at the end of the year than they were this year.
Well, listen, I hope you're right, because I'm rooting for Cam Newton just as strong as anybody would. I mean, I really, really hope that he resurrects his career because and shuts up a lot of the doubters. But I gotta look at it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, N'Keal Harry, you got to wonder what his development is going to look like. Julian Edelman is going to be there. You got to wonder how much he's got left in the tank in regards to what he may bring to the table. But we got to look at the New England Patriots defenses. There's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to be elite. Remember, Dante Hightower opted out. This brother was an incredibly important piece. You talk about boom tower, man. This brother with the hits that he could register, that he could put on people, the level of intelligence and how he executed on the field to play. That's a huge loss. Patrick Chung. That's a huge loss for them. Kyle Van Noy is now Miami Dolphins. Who's this kid here? James Collins Sr. He's going to the lines. I mean, you just look at a couple of these things that have transpired and some of the losses that they've had. They've lost about 8 or 9 guys on the defensive side of the ball. I know that Bill Belichick is a genius, but he can't play for these guys. In the end, if you've got so many losses with the Buffalo Bills ascending, with Ben Roethlisberger returning, with Baltimore and Kansas City expected to be who they are, with us not being able to sleep on the Indianapolis Colts, even though we might have lost some faith in Phillip Rivers, certainly the rest of the pieces that they have there are definitely formidable. We can't ignore all of these guys, including Houston. They can't be ignored as well. Tennessee, they were in the NFC Championship game, for crying out loud. And I'll repeat Buffalo again, because that defense is real. That defense is elite. And if they get any kind of production from a young guy like Allen, who's coming back yet again. I saw what they did on Christmas Day when they beat Dallas. I see how they look when he's running the football effectively. I look at him and Mitchell Trubisky in the same light in terms of when you allow them to run the football, to scramble out of the pocket and use their motor to extend plays, to make things happen, to move the chains, the offenses suddenly appear more formidable. So all of those things I'm paying attention to and looking at, and I'm saying I can't look at New England and assume that they're going to have a better year. I don't believe that. Do I believe they'll make the playoffs? I think they'll find a way. But when we're talking about the creme de la creme, the franchise,
they're going to win a playoff game, Stephen A?
I don't know. I got to see who they go against once they get there, Max. It depends on who they play in that divisional playoff game. I'm just saying that when we look at the end of the season, is this a team that we're going to be talking about and asking ourselves, oh, that's the team to beat in the AFC, even other than Kansas City? I think the answer is going to be no. There's going to be about 3 or 4 teams you look at before New England.
Yeah, I think you both make real valid points. I think big picture, obviously, the other teams in the AFC overall are getting better. They just are. Teams have made some significant improvements. Teams have made significant improvements in their own division, in particular in the AFC East. So that's point number one. Point number two, look, if you just kind of go flip it over to the positive, look, you can never count Bill Belichick out. You know he will do whatever he needs to do in this shortened, condensed training camp that they're having in order to get the players that are going to play significant roles for them ready. You know he's going to do that. But I do expect them to take a step back. And if you really look at it and kind of really break it down, the reasons are this. Look, on the defensive side, can you really expect them to once again lead the league in turnovers? Can you expect this team to lead the league in net turnover differential? Again, given some of the losses that they have had. On the defensive side, not only have they lost people, it's the positions that they play that they've lost them. Look, Dante Hightower plays a signal caller position, and he was a multi-positional player. Patrick Chung played safety. That's a signal caller position, a communication position. Although Devin McCourty is still there, it's still a critical position as far as communicating with everyone else. Patrick was a jack of all trades, moved all over the place. So you have critical guys at critical positions who are critical communicators that you've lost. And then on the offensive side, look, you don't have Gronk anymore. Okay, obviously you didn't have Gronk a year ago, but you don't have Tom Brady anymore. So you don't have the greatest quarterback, really the most accomplished quarterback in the history of the NFL, who struggled in 2 critical areas last year from a team perspective. 3rd down and red zone efficiency. Now you have a new quarterback coming in who hasn't played with this team at all this offseason in Cam Newton. You have a quarterback who hasn't started a game at all in Jarrett Stidham. And now you're trying to incorporate new weapons, particularly at tight end, with Devin Asiasi, who they drafted out of UCLA. And they really basically have the same group of wide receivers that weren't good enough from an explosive component perspective last year.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.